You can brief the guys. We're going to use the same LZ when we just dropped off those other folks. It's a lot easier to get down through that knoll.
He's a workaholic, and what he does occasionally on the weekends is goes for a hike, and he never tells us much about where he's going. In fact, he never tells us anything about where he's going.
Since he said goodbye to his work Friday around 6 o'clock.
A week ago.
Yeah, a week ago Friday, not just 2 days ago. Said goodbye to his boss in Bakersfield. Said to see you Monday. Didn't show up for work Monday, didn't show up for work Tuesday. Wednesday they did a missing persons report. Friday, forestry found his car parked right here, and it came back as a missing person, so we got called.
Janet is one of my favorite partners. Being that she's the emergency room nurse, I like having her really close by. If not for our victims' benefit, for mine, in case anything happens to me. So you'll find that probably half the time, Janet's my regular partner.
And we got notified from our desk of forestry coming upon a car that where they ran the plates, and this person came out missing from Bakersfield since Wednesday. We came to the area down here. We had some search birds come in and immediately fly the trails around here, Mount Lukens in the Vogel Flats area, to see if we could find anybody that might be out on the trail. We did some searching on foot up canyon, and after we didn't find anything, and contacting his boss in Bakersfield, it led us to continue the search through the weekend.
And so started a substantial rescue effort, as many as 60 or 70 folks from the police department, from all kinds of volunteer organizations, some of whom I've just met, and extremely impressive.
It was a week after we had started our search for our missing person, and we were meeting with the dogs, the cadaver dogs, to go out and try to see if the dogs could pick up anything, because we had no clues as of that point.
Janet and I were behind the dog and the handler a few feet, and we turned the corner and there was a family playing in the water upstream about 50 yards. I didn't really pay much attention to it, but Janet is the one that noticed that there was a baby floating face down in the water.
I happened to look up and saw something in the water, and I couldn't quite make it out. I looked again and saw that it was a small child.
And Janet yelled out, "Somebody better get that baby," and got my attention. I look up and I see Mom picking up the kid out of the water, limp, lifeless, blue, unresponsive. We ran towards Mom. She handed it off to me, and that's when I put the baby on my forearm, face down, head down, and delivered some back blows. And baby coughed up a lot of water. At that time, then Janet evaluated the baby. Being that she's the emergency room nurse, it worked out perfectly.
I wasn't in my sanitary hospital setting. I was out on a riverbank.
19 years of EMT refreshers, and this is the first time it might actually come into play. So that was my first infant resuscitation. What are the chances of us being on a search in 500 square miles of forest, being in that location at that moment in time to facilitate that rescue? That's pretty wild.
Definitely, if we were not out looking for our missing person, that rescue would not have happened with the baby.
And even though the baby was breathing, it was still in a very critical situation.
After the baby was flown to the hospital, Mike and I went back down to the campsite and continued the search with the cadaver dog. We hiked upriver, and we actually ran into the couple that found him the next day. And they had told us about all the hikes that they had been on. They had actively been searching for this guy since he went missing, since he knew we were looking. You know, they live there, they know the place like the back of their hand. So they were, as we were doing, just kind of hitting a canyon as they went and just ruling everything out. So as they started to go more upriver, they hit the canyon that he was in.
And the coroner is still assessing what actually happened, but he had obviously some serious fall, probably on the first day, and he was in a very inaccessible place. So I'd just like to thank all of the folks, the volunteers and the police who've been terrific his family are back in Turkey, and it's extremely difficult for them, and so I've tried to keep them informed. And
you know, it's always great when we can bring a finality to it, and we can bring the victim home for the family and put some closure to it. But I would have to say that reaching that closure also saved a life, and that's got to be a first.